The last cardboard box slipped from my hands just as the apartment keys landed on the kitchen counter. I stood in the middle of the nearly empty living room, staring at the walls that had witnessed 3 years of laughter, silent tears, late-night conversations, and dreams that had slowly fallen apart. I thought the hardest part of leaving would be saying goodbye to the place I once called home. I was wrong. The hardest part came when my roommate carried my final box inside, looked at me with tired but gentle eyes, and quietly pointed toward the couch. Now for your farewell gift. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness, hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances still have the power to change lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these heartfelt stories reach people who may need them the most. My name is Nathan, and this happened in Portland, Oregon. At 32, I felt like life had quietly unraveled while everyone else seemed to move forward. 6 months earlier, the engineering company where I worked had downsized. My position disappeared overnight. I told myself I would find something quickly, but weeks became months. My savings disappeared faster than my confidence. I sold my car, canceled every subscription, skipped meals without telling anyone, and smiled whenever people asked how things were going. The only person who knew the truth was my roommate, Caleb. We had met by chance through an online apartment listing. He worked as a physical therapist, always left encouraging notes on the refrigerator, and somehow believed every difficult season had an expiration date. While I buried myself in disappointment, he quietly carried more of the rent than I could afford. Every time I apologized, he shrugged it away and reminded me that friends didn't keep score. Eventually, even Caleb's generosity had limits. His younger sister and her husband needed a place after relocating to Oregon with their little daughter, Grace. The apartment was too small for everyone, so I made the decision to leave before he ever had to ask. I found a tiny studio across town with peeling paint and noisy pipes, but it was cheap enough that I could survive until I found steady work. Packing was strangely painful. Every coffee mug held memories, every bookshelf reminded me of evenings spent talking about faith, family, and the future. Caleb helped without saying much. He folded blankets, taped boxes, and carried furniture down 3 flights of stairs while I tried to pretend everything was fine. When the moving truck was finally loaded, only one box remained beside the couch. Caleb lifted it effortlessly, placed it inside the truck, then walked back into the apartment. He stood beside the old gray couch and motioned for me to sit down one last time. I laughed awkwardly, thinking he wanted one final conversation before we locked the door forever. Instead, he reached beneath one of the cushions and pulled out a thick envelope with my name written across the front. At first, I refused to take it. I assumed it was money, and my pride had already suffered enough. Caleb insisted that I open it before making assumptions. Inside wasn't cash. The first thing I saw was a folder containing an employment contract from a small engineering firm outside Portland. Months earlier, without telling me, Caleb had shared my resume with a patient recovering from surgery who happened to own the company. They had interviewed dozens of candidates but believed my experience was exactly what they needed. The position started the following Monday. Behind the contract was another envelope containing the security deposit and first month's rent for my new apartment, already paid. Then came a handwritten letter. Caleb admitted he had watched me slowly lose faith in myself. He said that every rejection email chipped away at the person he knew I truly was. He couldn't fix my problems, but he refused to watch someone with a generous heart believe he had no future. He reminded me that accepting help wasn't weakness. Sometimes allowing others to carry us for a while gave them the opportunity to live out the kindness they believed in. By the time I finished reading, I couldn't see the words anymore. My eyes were filled with tears I had spent months trying to hide. The following week changed everything. The new job wasn't glamorous, but the people welcomed me with respect. My supervisor, Marcus, valued ideas more than titles. Slowly, I rebuilt my confidence project by project. For the first time in nearly a year, I slept peacefully instead of worrying about unpaid bills. Life continued moving forward in quiet, beautiful ways. Caleb's niece, little Grace, loved visiting my tiny apartment because she said it smelled like fresh cookies. Every Christmas afterward, our families gathered together, laughing about the apartment that once seemed too small for everyone's dreams. Years later, when a young coworker lost his own job and quietly packed his desk, I recognized the same defeated expression I had once carried. I remembered the envelope beneath that old couch cushion. Without hesitation, I recommended him for an opening at another company, helped him prepare for interviews, and quietly covered part of his moving expenses. Only then did I fully understand Caleb's farewell gift. It had never been about the job. It had never been about the rent. It was about restoring hope before despair became permanent. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who could use a reminder that kindness often arrives when we least expect it. Before the story ends, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us about a person who gave you hope during one of the hardest seasons of your life, or someone whose kindness you'll never forget. Your story may become the encouragement another viewer needs today. As I drove away from that apartment for the final time, I glanced in the rearview mirror, expecting to feel only sadness. Instead, I realized something extraordinary. Homes are not remembered because of the walls that sheltered us. They are remembered because of the people who quietly carried our burdens when we could no longer carry them ourselves. And sometimes, the greatest farewell gift isn't something placed into our hands. It's the belief, lovingly restored by another heart, that our best days are still waiting just ahead.